Perfect. It's been really wonderful talking to you and getting a sense of your journey and how you engaged with Good Morning Portugal before and now coming to the meetup as well. So you know where we are on a Wednesday.
Yes, I do.
And you know where we are as a community. So make sure we stay in touch, please.
Well, thank you for your efforts in bringing this community together, because you make it easier, more comfortable, less stressful for all of us
thank you.
by facilitating this.
Oh, that's lovely to hear.
You.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Lovely to hear that. Thank you very much indeed. Olá, boa noite. Why are you giggling, Mrs. M?
I always like how at the end of that video the music goes wonky. How does what? Yeah, it's like it's
maybe,
what are those things? Like
maybe the boa constrictor got hold of it. Very
yeah,
good.
it's like it's
Tom
a didge,
Smith.
like
Yes.
a didgeridoo.
The traditional Portuguese instrument, the didgeridoo. Suze was here first tonight.
Yeah.
If there are any prizes for being first to the show, they would go to you, Suze. The best we can offer you is a little bit of help to calm any anxieties or troubles or challenges you're feeling moving to Portugal. Let's see what we can do to help you with that from afar. We are here beckoning you towards the Iberian Peninsula. Probably not going to say too much about being Ib-curious and Biberian tonight. That's more of a morning thing. Here we are. Hello, America. This is Portugal helping you move this way. So great to see you here, Suze. How's taxi doing? Boa noite. I love this. Boa noite. Boa constrictor as well. There's a rich seam in there, I think, somewhere, isn't there? Thank you, Tom, for being here. And hello, finally got some free time to join this wonderful group. Oh, bless you,
That's so lovely.
Laura Puntin. Good to see you. And Nubianette's here as well. How are you at the
And
moment?
we've also got Mo Ward. I've not seen that name before. Do you know Mo?
Ward.
Do you
Well,
know?
no, I have seen Mo before. Yeah. How you doing, Mo? And we have got the cost of living presentation tonight. Look at that. But do you recognise that house, Mrs.
Yeah,
M?
I do.
We will come back to that, and you can proofread my hastily put together presentation.
Yes, I can. I mean, I can see we've got loads of people watching and just a few people in the chat room. So please do let us know who you are and where you're listening in from, because we'd love to say hello.
Yeah.
And then if you've got any questions about the cost of living in Portugal, we might be able to share some of, we might be able to answer some of your questions.
I'm going to show you my bills.
Yeah.
And the MB Way references are on there if you want to pay any of them. And it's just
what if you want, people want to pay our bills?
Yeah. The
That'd
details
great,
are on the
wouldn't it?
details are on the bills. I'm giving away the confidential data by which people can. So it's the
that would
opposite
be
of
amazing. Could you imagine if all our bills
like
got paid?
positive fraud. Like pro fraud, where you actually
I love it.
fraudulently pay other people's bills for them, like paying it forward.
Well, do you know
Or
what?
random acts of kindness.
Do you know what? This is something to share with people about just how lovely it is in Portugal. Earlier tonight, we went for a nice walk in the sunshine. Our plan was to go to the park, and we stopped off at a cafe, went and got a few more bits, from the supermarket. And while I was standing in the queue with the kids, we were just chatting amongst ourselves, and there was this lady behind, and I helped her get her things onto the shopping thing. What's it called?
The conveyor belt.
The conveyor belt. Yes, that's it. And when we were just paying up, she said, "Hang on, wait a minute," in Portuguese. And she purchased 3 chocolate eggs for the kids.
Isn't that lovely?
Just, because she just wanted to say Happy Easter.
Feliz Pascua!
It was so sweet.
It's that time of year, isn't it? The kids broke up from school.
A complete stranger doing that. It's so nice.
Yeah, really nice. So we're kind of changing that. We've taught the kids tonight to accept sweets from strangers, but only in a supermarket queue at Easter. Vicky's here as well. It's lovely to see you here, Barack. Good evening to you. And Vicky's here as well. Good evening to you too.
Hello.
Good night. Hi, Vicky. Suze, I am sorting and packing today. Have you got anything left to pack and sort, Suze? I thought it was all in our garage still.
Yeah.
First leg towards Portugal will take me to Toronto in a few weeks. Need to get my excess baggage in order. Don't we all?
We all need to do that.
We all need to do that, don't we? And Mike T, who, if I may say so, Mike, just to blow your cover a little bit there, glad you checked in on the GMP VIP platform today, which is going really well. And thanks for coming back and having a look, Mike. And I think you were pleasantly surprised by what you saw there today. Hello, bon night. Chris is here as well. Lovely to see you, Chris. And my dear friend Lee, watching with me today in Vancouver. She was in Lisbon last month. Hey, Lee!
Hi, Lee. How did you find Lisbon? Did you enjoy it?
We've renamed it Lisbon in your honor.
Lisbon.
Yeah,
Very good.
that's exciting. Nibinette says to you, Suze, I'm just working out my cosmetics for my carry-on trip in June. Is it still the same old nonsense where you can't take liquids and you can't do this and you can't do that? I think it probably is, isn't it? It's been a long time since I've been on an airplane. But not.
And you don't exactly
wasn't
have
that long, was it? Last year.
It was last year, but I mean, let's face it. What toiletries do you actually use?
Beard conditioner, obviously. Beard fertilizer. I'm just accustomed now to taking as little as possible on an airplane, and I've been conditioned to just not take any risks to add to that massive bucket of stuff just before the check-in there. I just sent the $1 to pay your bills.
Oh,
cheers,
thank
Tom.
you so much.
Oh, a bit of begging pays off, doesn't it? A bit of. Thank you, Tom. Hi, Phoenix. Arizona. Yolanda is here. Yolanda, thanks for following us on Coffee. I think that was you, wasn't it? Coffee.com/GMP and Algarve Laura. Even though a little bit more expensive about general grocery skyrocketing housing prices, especially from Middle Algarve till Lagos, I must say that house expenses like water, condominium, electricity is still much cheaper than Italy. Good comparison.
That's
Thank
an
you.
interesting comparison. I mean, did you actually live in Italy? That's what I want to know. How do you know it's cheaper than Italy specifically?
I believe so.
All this kind of intel really helps us. I appreciate that.
I was thinking about Italy today because I'm talking a lot about the border between Portugal and Spain and thinking that's an interesting border, as borders always are between nations and anything in life, really. Where people meet, where land masses meet, the sea, etc. I wonder what the border is like between Spain and Italy. That's got to be very animated, isn't it? And possibly a little bit noisier than the Portuguese might be.
Spain and Italy.
They have a shared border, don't they? Are you going to make me look like a geographical idiot now?
No, maybe I'm making myself look like a geographical.
One of us is. Okay, let's move on.
Doesn't France just fit in between Spain and Italy?
Let's find out. Tom S knows the answers to these sorts of things. He might take his $1 back for us being such idiots. That's it. Yeah,
educate us.
Or give us another. Give us another $1 for an atlas.
I would be really, really worried if I got that wrong because I lived in France for 5 years.
Seriously. So
they don't share a border.
What, Spain and Italy do?
France is like flat-bottomed.
Flat-bottom countries, you make my geography look really silly. Okay.
Yes, we look at a map every day when we're eating our food.
I thought somebody had said that there was. Anyway, I'd like to move on because I don't want to feel any more silly than I already do now. Go into some shops in the UK. The only eggs in the shops are Easter eggs. Can't get an omelette for love nor money. Is that right? No eggs in UK.
Poor you.
Eggs are still going on.
Great.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? But you can look at me, an egghead. By way of some sort of consolation on the screen tonight. But night, everyone. Antonio F is here. Carl Hyde, new rules today. In some UK airports, you can take up to tomorrow litres. What? You can take tomorrow's litres as well as today's through in-hand luggage.
I don't understand that.
A year, all airports must follow suit. So maybe
I think it might be you can take up to
2 litres of liquids.
Oh, sorry, up to 2 litres.
But not diesel, presumably. I wouldn't have thought. Or petrol, just to save a bit of money coming from the UK into the continent. She loved Lisbon and says she walked every inch of it in 5 days. Wow, up and down those hills and hopefully not slipping around on the calzada. Tom Smith, my wife is shocked you can buy toiletries in Denver when we visit my in-laws. Is that in the airport there, Tom? And I am Italian. I lived here since 2018, and especially after the Russian-Ukraine war, bills in Italy are crazy now.
Right. Thank you for that.
Okay. Yeah. We'll be waiting for visa in Toronto and may not get there to meet in June next time. Okay. Suze with the details there on the move. And France nicknames itself the Hexagon because of its shape. And is that because it sandwiches itself between Italy and Spain? Okay. I'm so glad this isn't recorded.
I haven't flushed up like this for
having such an idiot for a husband. I can't believe it. Okay.
Don't worry,
what do you do? You've got to own it. You've got to own it, haven't you?
To be fair, I think you do actually know that. I think you just
forgot or was misled by the person who said that.
No, I
or should I should have said, what can you imagine if Italy and Spain had a border? Better. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah. Right.
That would have been very.
I really didn't know.
To be fair, their languages appear like they are next door to each other because French and Italy
Oh, no.
Italian, and lots of people saying they're recording now. You know, France seems to be a funny language in between Italy,
Exactly.
like Italian and
That's what threw
Spanish.
me. That's what threw me.
You know, like if you look at Portuguese, Spanish, and then Italian, you can really see the links between them. And France just kind of looks a bit odd in between them all. So
Okay.
I think linguistically they're more like bordered.
Can we stop
countries.
talking about it now?
Yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Smith. Yeah, you can buy toiletries in Denver. I see. So I think what Tom is saying is that she insists on packing things, and that she's shocked that you can buy toiletries over in Denver with the in-laws. And guess what? They've got grocery stores there too. I think that's a little bit of a quiet complaint there. Maybe not so quiet, perhaps. So today's topic. Oh, yeah, sorry. Back on topic. Not Carl's terrible grasp of European geography. Ben's here as well. Can't wait to work with Louisa to know when the right time is for us to move from California to Portugal. Well, maybe we'll see you after the show as our special guest in the Portugal Club then, Ben. We'll send you a link. We'll make sure, or maybe you've already done that, Mr.
I haven't. No.
Okay, we do the news headlines. When we do Hello America, this is Portugal, we do the news headlines first, and then we'll get into the cost of What? That wasn't it. That was the wrong button I pressed there. But that got everybody woken up,
really
didn't it?
did, yeah.
Okay, Portugal news headlines. Easter temperatures soaring to 30 degrees. Yes! UK government issues Portugal travel warning.
Why is that?
Government hoping to have... Do we care?
Mm,
Should we tell everybody?
yeah, maybe.
I mean, there may be more important
should we give
stories here,
people-
like banning foreigners from buying houses.
Okay, yeah.
That might be more important, mightn't it? Government hoping to avoid CEF strike. We're all hoping that doesn't happen. Portugal looking to boost tourism from China. Interesting. Okay.
I suspect that's going to raise some eyebrows, isn't it?
It could, but I'm wondering about the future of Western Europe. It's perhaps a philosophical discussion beyond tonight.
I think end of golden visas unconstitutional is an interesting one to look at.
Have you heard about the platinum visa?
I think you need to just come clean.
2.5 million fine for Mayo. Never! 2.5 million fine for Mayo. Talk about them a bit later on when we do cost of living. It's part one. We're going to look at rent, gas, not as in petrol, as we would call petrol in the UK, but bottled gas for heating. CEF strike could have brutal consequences. Sorry, I was going to say rent, gas, electricity, water, and internet and phones. Yeah. That's what we're looking at as part one of the cost of living. And I will segment it to make it easier.
And that's phones, including Wi-Fi, isn't it? Fiber.
I called it Wi-Fi. It's got to really, it's internet, isn't it? And broadband. Yeah. Wi-Fi is the system you use. You don't buy Wi-Fi. Yeah. That's the system you use, but that's why I incorrectly.
To be fair, I'd have said that as well.
Yeah, as well as CEF strike could have brutal consequences. Of course, it could, and they're only just. I mean, actually, I let this pass me by. CEF should have been completely disbanded and changed to APMA. We've not heard much about that. We're hearing about the strike and not about them rising from the ashes. Like
before we go any further, can you just quickly talk about the platinum visa?
Why?
Because I think you should clear it up.
Okay, for anyone who doesn't know now, that some rascal wrote a story that was in the Portugal Resident, which we'll also look at tonight, about the platinum visa, which included a lifelong supply of pastel de natas, which was a bit of a giveaway to its April Fool status. However, there are still people today all around the world actually saying what a terrible liberty and backward step the platinum visa is. I would like to say and own the fact that I did write that article.
It was just a joke.
It was a joke published by the Portugal Resident on the 1st of April.
Because the Portugal Resident thought it was hilarious, didn't they?
They thought it was hilarious. And, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a little dig at the government, not at the Portuguese people or Portugal.
Yeah.
But there are still people thinking you can get a gold-plated residency card and a lifetime supply of pastel de natas.
And also 15 years of free
electricity.
As
no
if
tax
any
to
country
pay.
is ever going to do that.
Yeah. So Mrs. M is making me apologize wherever possible.
Yeah, because I mean, we didn't realize it would be quite as believable because you put some fake names in.
Yeah.
But because people have such low expectations of their governments these days.
Yeah, that'll be it.
I think that's why it was so believable. But it's really important to clear it up.
It is.
Because we don't want people thinking that they're going to get like somehow circumnavigate.
You see, the
visa
interesting thing
processes.
is, Miss, sorry to interrupt,
Go
but
on.
I'm quite excited tonight, as people can probably gather. When you see headlines like this, banning foreigners from buying houses, that's how you can sometimes believe some of the funny things you read about platinum visas, because this is very clickbaity as well, isn't it? And I was definitely in the spirit of hyperbole and clickbait with the platinum visa, joke basically. But look at this. Let's look at this to assuage people's anxiety. Banning foreigners from buying houses, ? The European Commission has stipulated that for a member state of the EU, the European Union, to be able to limit the purchase of a home to non-residents, foreigners, there must be overriding reasons of general interest recognized in the case of law of the Court of Justice of the EU. Sounds very complicated. What does it actually mean? The European Commissioner for Financial Services, Financial Stability. That's quite a job to have, isn't it? The Commissioner for Financial Stability in Europe. I bet he's on the phone to all the heads of the banks at the moment, every day or hour.
I think it's a she.
Mairead McGuinness. It might be Irish, right?
Yeah.
Mairead McGuinness. So she is the Commissioner for Financial Services, Financial Stability and Capital Markets Union. She reported on this in response to a parliamentary question from Spanish MEP from the Balearic Islands, Rosa Esteras, from the Popular Party. I wonder if that's true.
Yeah, as I'm reading
Party.
this, I'm just thinking this sounds like it.
Are you reading ahead?
Yeah.
According to... go on then, you carry on.
No, it's fine. Go on.
Right, according to a report by Idealista / The News, the question posed by the MEP was whether it would be possible for member states to limit the purchase of homes to non-residents, taking into account restrictions on the movement of capital between EU countries. It's a bit boring, isn't it? In the official response, Brussels recalls that Article 63 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the EU prohibits, yes, I remember that, don't you? Said no one. Restrictions on the movement of capital related to the acquisition of real estate, including housing by non-resident citizens. It stresses, however, that such restrictions may be justified, in quotes, for reasons of public order or public security, or for overriding reasons of general interest, recognised in the case law of the CJEU, provided that they are non-discriminatory and are proportionate to the intended objective. So there is room in there, isn't there, to stop foreigners buying places?
There's room in there if they ever decide that they want to.
Yes.
Because those reasons, I think, look kind of like they could just be stretched.
Exactly. That's how law seems to be written these days, isn't it?
So that whole title, banning sales to foreigners, whatever.
It's quite a stretch, isn't it?
It's a massive stretch. Banning foreigners from buying houses, that's not really...
It is technically possible, but it's hugely unlikely.
That's very clickbait.
Any European government looking at doing that, I think, would be very foolish to even mention it, because it would shake foreign confidence so badly. So stop with that nonsense.
You can see we've got quite a few comments coming in. Let's have a look at
clickbait headlines. I'm shocked. Now, where are my winnings? What happened? What did I lose whilst I was talking there? Come on then, Mrs. M. You go through a few of these while I'm drinking my tea.
Okie doke. So there's a few hellos and whatnot. Tom is saying, "Hey, I love that Italy Spain Twilight Zone border."
Right.
Lols.
Can we let it go now?
T Duck is saying, "Smash that like button." Darren is saying, "Bon dia."
Darren.
Hello. We've got Mag B Style.
Mag B Style.
That's a new name by me.
I'm interested in the Mag B Style. I
don't know.
Welcome. I might know Mag B, but not in that form. Not with that particular
it's very
name.
Cool. So, Bonoit, thank you for your info and humour. We're so excited to hopefully relocate to Portugal in 2024. Yay. Is the phone, internet and TV bundled?
He wants us to get on with it.
Yeah, we'll get to you in a second, Tom, I promise. Yes, I'm downsizing again from a move back. I seem to be an accumulator. You know what, Suze? Where I've moved around, I always find whenever I settle, I always end up with books and crystals and incense. It just comes to me. Darren's just saying, you've reminded me I have a natter in the
Congratulations, he's expecting. Oh no, that's not what he means.
No, I don't think that is what he means.
In the right. Sorry.
Susie's waiting for a platinum visa application. Tom Smith is Antonio F is saying at Tom Smith, yes, TV, phone, landline, and internet, usually fiber, costs some €35.
35? Antonio, we need to speak. What? Where are you getting that deal?
Barack is saying should have a sapphire visa, which gives you a free home in the Algarve.
Why not?
That's great. I like that. And I think Susan's already had a nice nutter. Newbienet, I sleepily watched a video, found it suspicious, the nutter reference, and then I Googled, then remembered what day it was. Very good. April the 1st, Rick, I thought. It's not your first one, is it?
I've got to Google Platinum Visa Portugal because obviously people are searching it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And Thunderduck is saying we had wine today at 80 cents a glass.
Can't be bad, can it?
Was it nice? And where was it?
Might as well have another at those sort of prices, right?
And then Tom is saying that's hilarious. It's a great April Fool.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you are getting a little bit of pushback from
Some
it.
heat.
Yes, you are. But I mean, you do these April Fools. I mean, what are the other ones you've done?
It was the ski slope in the Algarve. The UN had reclassified the word expat.
Yes, that was quite believable.
That had some World Economic Forum
action in it.
goings on, didn't it?
Sort of just pre-WEF, sort of.
It was around the time when we were discovering that we would be having nothing and being happy about it.
And so they were fiddling with our expat language
and our minds.
And Tom is saying I would do a black gold visa with free gasoline.
Yes. See, I should have checked with all of you before I did this.
Maybe next year.
You can all share the responsibility if there's any further pushback or heat from this. So let's go to the publication, the esteemed publication that picked up that story and ran with it and thought it was amusing. This is the Portugal Resident. We'll have a look now at the front page before we go to the cost of living. Presentation that I've created. TAP CEO accuses government of illegal sacking. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. TAP is never far away. It's always flying into controversy.
Sure is.
Thank you very much. And regulator fines telecoms provider. There's the Mayo story, 2.5 million. I don't suppose any of that is going back to the people who got messed around by Mayo or all of the phone companies mess people around. I mean, they're not alone in that, I don't think. Portuguese submarine, the Arpão, sets off for the longest mission. Yikes. Wow, can you imagine?
I wonder where it's going.
I would be so afraid. I guess you get used to it after a while, don't you? Life on a submarine, but my goodness. Oh, golden visa axing violates law, say constitutionalists. Yeah. Portugal's housing program threatened by massive recourse to the courts. The courts are blocked already. I mean, they have to be so careful with this new housing legislation. That people were on the streets. It got pretty eggy on Saturday. That was a reason why I felt a little bit bad about the platinum visa thing, because while we were larking about and joking around with that end of things, people were getting very angry on the streets, and there was a little bit
not
of
because
riotous.
of your article.
No,
like,
no, certainly not.
Not related, but
it did seem
it was kind of bad timing.
Wasn't it? yeah, not good. So I did feel bad about that. And brief headlines then: Port expansion needs further studies before that takes place. Moody's upgrades TAP's ratings or TAP ratings. Outlook positive for TAP.
And just can you just confirm what TAP stands for those people that are watching for the first time?
No, I can't. It's the national carrier. It's the national airline, which is heavily subsidised by the taxpayer here in Portugal. But I think Antonio F will need to decode the acronym for us of TAP. I'm not taking any wild guesses at anything now tonight. I've learned my lesson. I'm not checking my facts. Easter promises temperatures higher than normal for this time of year. So I think those 30-degree forecasts for Easter are looking good. It was a lovely day today, wasn't it?
Really nice.
Finances warns of new fraudulent email campaign. What? Demanding money off people with menaces. Oh, no, that's just normal. These are new extra fraudulent emails that are coming out. And Marcelo congratulates Finland on joining NATO, which happened today, I believe. Portuguese F-16s intercept Russian military plane over the Baltic as well. So the Portuguese seem to be getting more and more involved in that conflict, sadly or gladly, whichever way you would be looking at that. An antioxidant with potential to combat neurodegenerative disease developed at Porto Uni, the great innovation of the Portuguese people, scientists, people of all fields of work in that great spirit of innovation here in Portugal. And I think, generally speaking, a lot of unsung heroes and heroines of innovation and enterprise here in Portugal. So shout out to all of them this evening. A few more hellos, and then we'll get on with the cost of living presentation. There goes the Portugal resident. Natas, only 39 cents in Continent supermarket. That's amazing. Well, separately, or do you have to buy it as part of a deal? Sounds like you're enjoying your natas. And send us a picture. We like people showing their natas off on the breakfast show. And I know now a lot of there seems to be a marketing strategy of the regular nata and then the kind of deluxe nata as well, which is a little bit
What's the
creamier.
difference?
The pastry's finer and the custard is creamier with the gourmet ones, I've noticed. Thunder Duck, we have fibre internet, basic TV and landline in Lisbon. It's been $36.99 a month for the last 2 years. It just went up a few euros. Thank you for that. Mike T, for those of you living in the US, Trader Joe's is now carrying pastel de nata. We'll have to hold me over till I'm back in PT. What are they like? I'll take a review from you or a photo.
For those of you that do like Trader Joe's, they do sell some Trader Joe brand items in Aldi, don't they?
They do.
Like baked beans and peanut butter.
And you can also get this fabulous footwear in there. Aldi does.
Aldi does.
Aldi
did
does
you
as well.
did you do that?
I did. No, that's for real. It's not.
Seriously,
it's not another one of my pranks.
It does look like something that you've just done on Canva.
I just heard the CEF strike is over. Yay! And now they're rubber stamping all visas so quick, everyone needs to head to their CEF office and get their visa stamped. So maybe the change of staff, the reorganization is paying off, and we can expire. Well, I'm looking forward to talking to Gilda on Thursday evening about that then. That's fantastic. The wine at 80 centimos was in a cafe in Caldas de Rainha and was pretty good, probably from a box, but very drinkable. Thank you very much. Correct spelling of continent right there from Antonio F. Tom Smith, if Mayo is like other telecom companies here, they will raise your rates to cover the increased taxes. Well said. Spot on there, Tom Smith. That's how it works, isn't it? It's all in the business plan. I made the mistake of signing up with Mayo, then had a nightmare ever getting through to them. Ended up going to a store before 14-day trial expired. Cancelled it all. We'll use a pay-as-you-go Leica SIM. Very good. Not to be confused with a Lycra SIM. Prefer the simple life. Transportação Air Portugal. There you go, Mrs. M. TAP, Air Portugal, Transportes Aéreos Portugal, Portuguese Air Transports, or as we sometimes say, take another plane, TAP. Very good.
Very good.
Oh, important questions, such as, has anyone found salad cream here?
We have, but I can't remember where, because
Okay.
we've got some in our...
It's not salad cream.
It's not very good salad cream,
though. You know, it's a bit different. Not the Heinz. And there's a chocolate nata too. Sacrilege. Do not come here talking about chocolate natas, Darren. Very good. They will hold you over at Incontinent. That's different, I think. Okay.
So let's get to our bills.
Shall we? At the 1:30 mark. And we'll take some calls a little bit later on as well. So I want to present to you my presentation. Let's hope I can do this, shall we?
So it was like hastily put together, wasn't it?
Are you making apologies already for this?
I don't know what it's going to look like.
Well, you know me,
it.
I'm quick and dirty, and sometimes that gets the better of me, doesn't it? Let's face it. So, what do we think? That's better, isn't it?
Yeah.
For presentation mode. Okay, so you can help. I'm so glad you're here as my delightful co-host, not assistant, but really the
Should I do the hands?
the guiding force of us domestically here. There's our top deck. This is our home in San Martino de Porto. So we're going to talk about rent, first of all. And for a home in the suburbs of San Martino de Porto, do you want to give us stats on how close we are to the seafront, for example, Mrs. M?
Yeah, as the crow flies, really close, like super close. We can drive to the beach in about 4 minutes, like really super fast. If we were walking on our own, we could do it in 10 minutes. But because we're walking with 3 kids,
an hour and a half.
It takes ages.
Yeah.
Which is why we know how long it takes to drive.
Yeah.
It's really close.
And hear it.
Yeah, we can hear the sea at night. We are surrounded by sort of encapsulated by 3 beaches, really, aren't we? We've got we could go to 3 different beaches from where we live on foot.
Yes, absolutely.
Even Silver de Porto, it's a little bit further away. We can walk to a train station, a supermarket, lots of bars and restaurants. They're a little bit further afield. They're about 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk. So it's a pretty good location. There's a little sort of like woodland park nearby.
Oh yeah, with the barbecue area.
Yeah, which is just like 10 minutes walk tops. That's 10-minute walk with kids. So, you know, it'd be super fast if you're going on your own. And we've got really good access in and out of town as well. We're on quite a main road. And
we're hoping, we've not seen it yet, but they're redeveloping a huge camping park, aren't they, at the top of the street with its own water.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
you know, it's with the cabins and the caravan parking and
and a slide.
And a huge water slide. So we're looking forward to popping into there as day visitors.
I mean, we can walk up to the top of our road cross over one road and then up a bank with the dogs, and then we're right on the sea.
Yeah.
You know, we can walk along the sea front with our dogs every day.
Yeah, 20 minutes then, but on adult feet and legs to the seaside. You can hear it in the evening. It's a great place to live. San Martino de Porto, you'll know this if you're not familiar with it. If you look at the aerial view of Portugal,
You said 20 minutes.
For us on foot.
What, when we're walking the dogs, or?
No, I think I could get up to Grallia in 20.
Oh, okay.
Without the kids.
Okay,
but
that's going up the hill rather than flat towards the
yeah, I mean,
glamorous side of town.
Within half an hour, we're at the front, aren't we? And I can cycle in there in 10, and we can drive there in 2 or 3 minutes, can't we?
Yeah.
And at certain times of the year, park on the quay, which is fantastic. So
Yeah.
that's where we are. And this is our home in what we call the Truman Show. Because as you can see, our neighbour's house and our house are very similar. And it's a whole street of houses like this. No complaint. I'm just giving you an idea of the suburban setup we live in.
There are quite a few suburban setups in and around the Silver Coast.
Copy paste.
Yeah.
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 So that's what we do. And I've taken a picture of the upper floor because the washing was out on the ground floor. We are properly Portuguese now, so that it looks kind of formal and nice in this picture. So here we are, San Martino de Porto, Silver Coast. We have 3 bedrooms in our home. One of them with that balcony at the front there also has an ensuite shower room and with a WC and wash hand basin. I think that's how the real estate agents refer to them.
And a bidet.
2 other bedrooms on the first floor, and then a very serviceable attic and accessible attic above. It's not an attic or a loft with a hatch. It's got a wooden staircase. I mean, it's a little bit steep, but you don't want to be running up and down there. But there's banisters, and you can get up to the top, and there's a Velux window, and it's a lovely big space with a wooden floor.
Perfect for a teen, wouldn't it?
It is, yeah, or a man cave or something along those lines. Living room, dining room on the ground floor, and a pantry, which is quite useful, isn't it, Mrs. M?
Yeah,
as well?
and the kitchen.
And the kitchen, and another downstairs lavatory.
Yeah.
Downstairs. So we've got 4 closets altogether, haven't we? Water closets, that is.
4, 3.
Is it 3?
3.
3. Yeah, 3. But plenty.
Yeah.
Front and rear gardens. Mrs. M, you may have seen previously, has done a fantastic job in both gardens, planting them and growing food. The rear garden is fully enclosed, and that's where our dogs live.
We managed to have 5 chickens in there, and quails, and 2 dogs, and a duck.
3 children
at one point.
Yeah.
And lots and lots and lots of plants.
Food to eat in the Portuguese
I mean,
style.
we set it up. I mean, it wasn't really ideal. Like it's you know, a lot of Portuguese, they have backyards as opposed to gardens. Like if you go out of town, you'll find like these really nice rural places with beautiful gardens and things. But in town, you're more likely just to have a sort of concrete area where people can sit out in the sun, maybe have a barbecue or something. So we were doing a container garden. We set up the idea of having a sort of permaculture homestead in one of these sort of concrete backyards, and we managed it. But it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I would say it's not ideal. You know, I'm looking for a house that we could just move to, be able to run both of our businesses from, that has a proper garden in, that we can.
Yeah, it would be the intersection, wouldn't it, of the fibre of civilization.
Yeah.
As in fibre optic, and the rurality that has a water well and fruit trees that are established. That would be our sweet spot, wouldn't it? I think.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with it. No complaints. This has been one of my favourite houses I've ever lived in my life. And I didn't see that coming. I didn't expect to be living in such a place, but I absolutely love it. And you know, there's very little to do in terms of maintenance.
Really easy.
Yeah, I put a drill in my finger at the weekend because I find myself a little job. But it's nice to potter around the house doing a bit of DIY. Let's have a look at the rent then. You'll see here that this is the gold standard. It costs us €700 a month to live here, with the specification I've just told you about, and the lease is registered on the Finances portal. And this is ideally what you want. You want to be able to go into your the portal and see that your contract has been registered by your landlord with the relevant authority. And that means that it's a proper contract. I don't know if Finances look into they probably don't look into the legals, but they look into the financials. And here will be the record of payments, the contract itself, what it costs per month. And so that, the landlord has registered and declared it to Finances, and clearly we have as well as the tenants of the property, and it's €700, which is about right. Would you say, Mrs. M, in this area?
Yeah, I'd
on the
say
good
that's about
side,
right.
possibly.
Yeah, I
on the good
mean,
side?
obviously, if you're down in the Algarve, you'd be paying a lot more for a house like this.
Oh, yes.
And in other areas, you would probably be paying less. We're on the Silver Coast, which is quite sought after, but not as expensive as down south.
And we know as well, don't we, that the unscrupulous, speculative types of landlords and people who are taking advantage of the situation might ask for anything up to 1,000.
Yeah, we know people
11,
here.
1,200 for a house of this kind.
Yeah, I mean, I know somebody locally who's paying $850 a month for a 2-bedroom flat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really nice. You know, but I mean, it can go up a lot more, can't it? I mean, I think it's really well priced, actually.
Yeah, it is. And we took a 3-year lease, which is, I think, again, a standard, or is available as a possibility. And we paid 3 months to be in, the 2 months of deposit and the first month up front.
Yeah.
I
mean, if we were in the UK where we were living before we came out in Devon, I mean, how much do you think we'd be paying for that? 1,500?
Oh yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah,
definitely. So we're delighted to be here. This is a good place to be, for sure. And we didn't have to pay anything silly like a year up front, which is some of the scams that we hear are going on. And it's difficult for people to resist that when they're desperate to find a property for their D7, for example. I do understand why people do that, but it just makes it more difficult for everybody when that sort of thing is going on. So that's pretty straightforward. That's the house, the spec, and the rent. Let's move on to, this is perhaps the most hastily put together slide. That is our very glamorous gas bottle array. And so you see the system here means that you have one bottle in use and one standing by. So you're not waiting for the delivery man like we sometimes are, because we're down to the one bottle. But they are 45 kilogram bottles, which are shoulder height to a man, aren't they, pretty much? And they're not something you can chuck in the back of the car.
I wouldn't say. I think they're up to my breasts, and I'm...
What a lovely picture. Okay, all right. I can hug. But we can both hug those bottles.
They're probably about 3 foot, right, or 4 foot.
No, the little ones are 2 or 3 feet. These are like up to shoulder height, I would say.
Up to shoulder height of an average sized woman.
Okay, you're right. And for us, powering our hot water heating on an instantaneous boiler and a gas hob. Those are the only 2 reasons, aren't they? We use the gas, Mrs. M.
Yeah.
There's nothing else, is there? It's
I mean, we can have baths pretty much sort of like every other day, and like a couple of showers a day.
Cook every day.
We cook at least twice a day on the gas, don't we? Probably more, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're always washing up. And it lasts us 6 weeks, and it costs us €115. So I think that's okay. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
There are lots of lovely comments coming in. Thank you. We'll come back to all of these. But there you go. That's the gas. That's pretty straightforward. And one of those bottles at the moment, and the prices have fluctuated. Look at this, Ms. Zim. I've got a lot of old bills here. It has gone up to as much as 130 in the last year. And I think I've got a reason for that. I've got 121, 112, 110, 115, the most recent one. And you'll see it's actually 93.5 euros. But the EVA on top, and this is subject to all of these bills. Yeah, it's EVA. So much money is made in Portugal.
EVA is the tax.
Yeah, value-added tax at 23%. The bottle of gas is 93.50, 21.50 of EVA on top of that, making it 115. The last time I bought one, I go to the depot to get.
Have you got the date on when we ordered that?
Yeah, Because we need to know when it's about to run out.
Yeah, it must be June.
It's this one in front of me on the desk.
23rd of.
There you go.
23rd.
Take that. Look at it. Look how detailed this invoice is. I ordered it at 1 minute past 4. Wow.
Yeah, we need to.
We need a new one.
We do need to order a new one.
All right. Okay. So there you go. That's gas. That's the energy for our hot water heating and our gas hob. Yeah. And the plumbing is there for a gas fire, a flame effect. Gas fire in the living room, but we don't use that. That's been disconnected. Yeah. Okay. Here's water, and you'll see here it's slightly convoluted because if you haven't gathered already, this sort of stuff phases me. What's that condition where people see numbers and they just go completely fuzzy headed? Is it like dyscalculia? I mean, I don't go completely to pieces, but it's not my leading suite, is it? Should we call it that?
You're more of the wordsmith, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm more about words and pictures than I'm about numbers. So the last bill, to give you an idea, for March of 2023 was, if you look at that small print, 40 euros. And the whole bill it includes the bill before that, or unpaid bills subsequent. Previously to that. And you'll see, as I'm aware, and you can see here, we use Alcobaça as our water provider. That is the camera of Alcobaça. That is the area we're in. San Martino de Porto belongs to Alcobaça, if you like. It is Alcobaça's beach town. And it's quite a weird one, because we're some way away from Alcobaça, and there's a slightly strange relationship. But there you go. We get the water from Alcobaça, and you can see, why is all that water used in August? Was that to water the plants, Mrs. M?
Yeah, that's because it was in prime planting sort of growing season.
Okay, all right.
We also had the duck.
Yeah.
Who needed a lot, and we had my parents staying as well.
So there you can see the spike of activity in August of 2022.
Yeah, I mean, my parents stayed for 3 weeks, didn't they? So it's like
constantly flushing the toilet. What are
twice
they like?
as many.
But like Laura said, 40 euros a month at the moment isn't too bad, is it, for water?
Yeah.
And whatever else it is they charge you for. Now, there's no app for water from the local municipality of Alcobaça, as far as I'm aware.
It's interesting that the garbage comes under it.
Well, that's why I've blown this up and used Google Translate. Before we move on to that translation, you can pay your bills by going to the multibanco cash machine. You know, the what is not called the RTA. What are they called? What's the acronym for cash points? Anyway, the cash machine, the hole in the wall, the teller machine, ATM. Automatic teller machine, I think. And you all you need is 3 numbers to pay a bill. You need the entity, the entidad, which would be Alcobaça municipality.
So that's where it says 21485.
Yep.
In that sort of big old red circle.
Then there's a unique reference for the bill itself, and for us to relate this bill to us and have it paid. And then there's the amount. And if you can go to a cash machine, go to the right screen, enter these 3 numbers, job done. There is a time limit on it, so this doesn't last forever. It seems to expire at a certain point. I'm sure Antonio F. will be laughing and helping us as foreigners here. But I think we've got a fairly good grasp of how this works. And then you can see when you blow up, when I expanded and translated what we're buying here from Alcobaça, is the water consumption, fixed sanitation, fixed water rate, sanitation variable, fixed garbage, variable garbage. Now, I should say we don't pay rates here, do we? The owner of the house pays the tax, like a council tax, local authority tax. Tenants do not pay anything like that, but it looks like we're paying some sort of garbage, rubbish clearance amount. And some people also, I believe, pay TV licensing in this, possibly as well. So there are other things added in here, but still, we can't complain, can we? At 40 euros a month,
we're
for
okay with
water
that,
usage and sanitation and sewage. So I think that's pretty amazing. Thank you, Alcobaça. Let's move on now to Mayo, who we use for our internet, our Wi-Fi, our broadband. And so I'm quite shocked by the good deals that our friends have got in the chat here. The internet part of this bill, and it is bundled. So you can see that there's internet, television, and mobile. I've added a mobile onto here for one of our kids. Not too bad, really. Why are you?
I was looking at first. I thought 7,990 euros.
That's
what?
A lot. that kid's been on YouTube a lot.
Yeah, that comma should really be.
Good point, Mrs. M.
Yeah, it looks like we're paying 43,588 euros.
Yeah. Well, Portuguese people use a comma and not a full stop, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to decimalization of things.
So that is a bit weird.
Yeah,
because actually I noticed that when I'm doing my green slips, when I'm reporting my earnings at the end of the month.
Yeah.
I guess, are our bills more expensive because we just got locked into a pretty awful deal right at the start? Or was it because we were in a different area where it wasn't so cheap? And we've moved around and moved it with us a few times, haven't we?
I'll give you my answer to that.
Okay.
It's partly because of the deal we've chosen, and as ever, and as people might not be surprised to hear, user error. And I'll explain why. Okay, so
we don't even use Acorn TV.
Exactly. But the funny thing is, I don't know how to get back in there and turn it off, because we watched that fantastic Acorn TV series with that Irish girl in, didn't we? And we really enjoyed it. But I don't think it's worth paying $2.99 a month for the rest of our lives.
No.
And we don't even have the TV box plugged in. So let me break it down.
Yes.
The internet part is great. Our Mayo, when we pay the bill, the Mayo service is really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's 43, including EVA. Okay, this particular breakdown here does include the EVA. So 43.60 is the amount for the internet from Mayo into this particular house. The television package has, the internet and TV is 43.58, and then the television extras, which I need to really apply myself to cancel, are 2 subscriptions, one at €5 a month and one at $2.99. That's why it's not 7,990, but 7.99.
Yeah. Okay.
So we could save that a month, which would be useful, and this is a good reminder to do so. And then there's a phone. There is a phone added to the Mayo bill there at $9.79 or $9.80 a month. Now it starts to add up when you miss paying bills. You haven't got it on direct debit, for example, and you've got, that's a terrible moment I had when I thought our Wi-Fi, there was a problem last week.
Yes.
I hadn't paid the bill, had I?
Yeah.
So they turned it off. And now there's an admin fee to pay of €17.50, and a penalty, I think, if you don't pay on time. So there's another €22. That's a meal out for us, isn't it? And so I should be a lot more conscientious and organized. But, we're busy, 3 kids, blah, blah, not very good at this sort of stuff.
I think it's forgivable.
It is forgivable. But when you add that on, that's where it starts to escalate. And that is, they've put EVA, I think, maybe. Oh, it's not. No, the penalty doesn't have EVA on it. They don't double penalize you.
It's 61.37.
Yeah.
That's the total. And then you've got like 22
these penalties.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah.
So the current bill is around 80 something for this month. Ouch. That's not cheap compared to what we used to pay in the UK. This sort of thing is not cheap in Portugal. And so let's have a look then.
I think we were robbed, and I think there's going to be some. Well, no, like the other guy saying they're paying 35 a month.
Okay,
so they're really good services.
Yeah, all right. Do you know?
Are we locked in? Are we locked in on our?
No, well, not for much longer, as it turns out, and that's another thing you can find out from the apps how long you've got, but. I'm a bit reluctant. I mean, I think it's probably good to see if you can renegotiate a better deal rather than leave.
Yeah,
I've got no quibble with Mayo's quality. And whenever I've had problems with Vodafone or Mayo, from a technical point of view, they've been great. It's just got really awful when I've tried to transfer and they wanted to penalise me for the rest of the bill, even though they couldn't provide the service. Oh, Ben's saying it's much cheaper than the States. That's interesting.
Is it?
Yeah, well,
that's interesting. Well, you're in what's it like where you are, Ben?
Okay, give us a comparison. Anyone who's in the United States.
I don't want to reveal where you're where someone's based in the States, because obviously there are big variables again according to where you are.
But come on, Ben and everyone else, we've shown you ours. You show us yours now. So there you go. The equipment is free, and that's part of the deal. And there were discounts for signing up for 2 years.
And you have to return it though, don't you?
There's a thing. Yeah.
Or you get charged a lot, because we did.
It's not your stuff.
Yeah, we did leave one supplier. I can't remember where it was.
He said you better bring that stuff back, or we'll charge you €300 or something. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Very
said.
Uptight
about it.
Well said. Return the phone you never use, as well as the TV box.
Yeah.
Have we got a phone we never use? I don't think we got a phone.
No idea.
Okay, so that's the breakdown on that particular less than €10 a month mobile. You get 20 gigs. Our lad's really good, isn't he? Look, he's 20 gigs. 1,750 texts and 2,000 minutes available for a €10 a month phone. Not too bad, is it? Okay, and there's the breakdown. So really, on a good day or a good month, we should be paying something like 58, 59, 60, 61, that sort of amount. Anything between 58 and 62, unless I really mess up, which I did in the last month or so. So there you go. That's the breakdown. That's how good the Mayo app is as well. It gives you that breakdown. You can see what's going on, and you can have a little fiddle around behind the scenes. And both Mayo and Vodafone, which I'll show you now, because we have our mobiles on a different system, which adds up. And I'm giving our mobiles away on the screen now. I shouldn't do that, should I, Mrs. M? Oh well, too bad.
It's a bit late now, isn't it?
we use Red, the 5G.
I had no idea
which is the basic
like
level.
who we had our phones with.
Well,
so.
we've had these for a long time, and these are
Yeah.
up for renewal soon.
Yeah.
I've noticed that while I was having a little dig around. So thank you, everybody. It's been useful to apply myself to this and do the cost of living thing. But we've got 3 mobiles with Voda. We've got the studio number 913-590-303. We've got Mrs. M's number, and we've got an extra one which I got recently for the concierge number on WhatsApp for people who are GMP VIPs.
Yeah.
So you can get deals, and as you can see there on the left hand side of the screen, you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 numbers, and the prices come down with the more lines you have. So that helps with a family set of phones. But there you go. You can see for yourself, what that's adding up to. It's quite a lot of money. That's 60 for three lines for 3 handsets. But handsets, unlike the UK, are not included. I think you can buy them on the Never on HP with the phone providers here, but I've never done that.
They're quite expensive here, aren't they?
We own our own handsets, and we just use their
which is
lines.
why they're covered in scuffs and cracks. I mean, one thing I will say to everybody that hasn't been here yet, there are hard floors in pretty much every building that you go into.
Yeah.
They don't have carpets everywhere, and if you drop your phone, your phone will smash. It's almost a given.
Unforgiving.
I don't think I've seen a single person in Portugal that's got like a phone that is absolutely unscathed. So get, if you're very precious about your technology, your tablets and things, get some kind of cover for it.
Yeah. Okay, can you see anything on here that is confidential and should not be shared with anyone? Because this is the next screen I want to share. Because I forgot.
Would you know what you were talking about, dyscalculia or whatever it's called?
Do you have the same thing?
I look at these things and I just kind of freak out internally.
Thank God Carl's having a go at it.
Yeah,
Carl's not very good at it, but at least I don't have to do it.
Yeah, you're much better at it than I am. I'm also one thing I am looking at though is the time, because we have got an appointment.
All right, let me wrap up then. Well, this is the last slide of. I want to show the electricity because this is the last slide. The other thing I wanted to say about the phones is each of the phone companies I've used, Mayo and Vodafone, and it looks like I should have used Nowo, according to Antonio F. But with these, each time you pay your bill and spend money with them, you get points which give you discounts. I mean, it's like loyalty because it's keeping you.
Yeah.
They give you points to use against buying stuff from them. But that can be advantageous when it comes to buying a handset. So that's something worth knowing about. Thank you for your forbearance, everybody, with that. I will just share very quickly the excellent EDP app as well, or the back office of EDP. And I'm very proud to do so because my bill is bang up to date with EDP. I'm glad to see. Mrs. M will be glad to see it as well. EDP customer area, just bringing that onto the screen for you now then. Forgot to mention this when we were talking about energy, but there's EDP's back office. I don't think there's any confidential data there.
Can't see anything.
We are being outed as living in San Martino de Porto, but we already told you that. Nothing to switch off. That I think is lost in translation. I think that's to pay basically. So nothing to pay at the moment. Next invoice will be coming on April the 7th. But look at this. Our electricity bill for October of last year, not too bad in the winter of Portugal, 43 euros. November was 62. December, we pushed the boat out, 109.73. January, it was getting colder, wasn't it, Mrs. M? 129. And the biggest bill I think we've paid, 200 exactly, in February this year. And that's when it did get coldest and dampest, didn't it?
It did get
and
cold.
last month's bill was down to just over 119 euros. So there you go. That's what it costs.
It should be back down to the usual like 60 a month, I would imagine.
Yeah, about that. I mean, it drops dramatically, doesn't it? Because it will only be using.
I mean, when it gets damp, I mean, we end up drying lots of clothes and things like that, drying lots of washing and having heaters on, and that sort of like takes it.
Our pleasure, Suze. Thank you, Munson's very informative on the necessities of life. I think this will be a popular little presentation, actually. Let's catch up.
I've got some comments. Fantastic. I can see Tony's.
Let me, Mrs. M, don't do this to me. Okay. I'm going to go through these sequentially, or it'll be a terrible mess. Nowo, good tip, Antonio F. Cheapest bundle you can get, Nowo. You find them in most shopping malls, along with all the other companies, of course. They have national coverage for the cell phones. I'd probably get an apartment, says Tom Smith. I don't want to mow a lawn since I turn into a lobster in 15 minutes. You can grow to love that. We do. Mike T, you can check other people's experiences in the forum at Expats Portugal. Cheers, Antonio F. Yes, definitely. A really good place to compare notes for sure. Registering with Finanzas helps prove a residency with SEF and APMA. It does. It's the gold standard. I think it's fair to say. Hi to my Minnesota friend, if you're here today, from Sue's in Denver. Studio apartment downtown, averaging $2,500.
Yikes.
Oh my word. Tom West says sounds like paradise. I mean, it's nice to hear that, isn't it, Mrs. M? It is nice to hear
that. I really quite like the fact that we can do our work and get it done as soon as we've finished. We bundle our kids into the car and we head down to the beach.
Yeah.
And we like get a little picnic out, go for a coffee in a cafe, head back. It's really easy.
Yeah.
We're so lucky. And being here, it's just a joy, isn't it?
Agree with you, Tom West.
Yeah.
On that basis. Eva is not paradise. 23 eye-watering % on just about everything, apart from a lot of foods. Actually, the Portuguese government took VAT off a lot of foods just recently, which was great. $2,000 a month for a 2-bed in Hampstead, North London. That is cheap, my goodness. Good night, folks. We've bored him with our particulars. It's late for us. Ciao, ciao. See you later, mate. See you tomorrow, I hope. We're having such a hard time finding accommodation. Drop your line, Carl at goodmorningportugal.com. We'll do our best to help you. Finanzas portal, good info. Oh, my God. You need a degree to understand what goes on in there. You need a couple of lawyers, a couple of accountants, and a rocket scientist. But I've
recently met a really good accounting firm. This is like a third or fourth time. And I had a Zoom conference call with her, and it was really great because I went on to my own Finanzas back office, and she guided me through it, and I was able to video it. So I now know exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
So I can put you in touch if you want that kind of level of care. I think that's essential.
Okay, so it was good to be living in San Martino de Porto, belonging to Alcobaster at the time of the lockdown. Not so lucky if you lived in Nazaré. Good point, Tony. Good to see you here. Rant by Tony. TV and radio tax used to be charging the electricity bill. That's what prompted me to look at EDP. Thank you for that, Antonio. We like Mayo, got rid of Vodafone. I have been in that condition. I had a bitter dispute with Vodafone, but it stayed with them in the end because I got to know a chap called Ricardo Coelho, I think, who was an English-speaking helpline person. It was absolutely wonderful and really helped turn it around. So do ask if you're struggling with those really difficult situations. Do ask for an English-speaking helpline expert, and you can find some real gems of human beings in those situations. Move over. This is 90% less than my telecom bill. OMG, that's weird. You pay for gas bottles. What do you do? Do you just steal them?
Well, no, I mean, we'd never really come across it in the UK.
No. Unless you live in a caravan.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only time you'd use gas bottles in the UK. But over here, in a lot of places, especially rural places, you just have gas bottles and you just get them delivered. So you go to the shop, buy them, and then a guy comes over. Usually a guy. I've never seen a woman do it, but it's completely okay to do it.
He's a heartthrob, isn't he? He's a lovely, handsome young fella.
He's a very handsome young man that
local
comes round.
Celebrity.
Yeah, he is. He's very glamorous.
Yeah.
But I know that we had the option to go on to mains gas here, but I think because it's a rental, it's just easier to do it that way.
All right. So bear with anyone who's joining us after for the Portugal Club. We're going to go over a couple of minutes because I think this is useful stuff. Tony Bryant says it's worth doing a cull. Go through your accounts. I know. I mean to every week, every month, Tony.
Do you know what? I do that on my PayPal once a month. And I realise I've got all these little subscriptions and things.
Yeah, worth doing. Yeah. Don't cancel your GMP VIP subscription, whatever you do. But our friends, just getting here, but great info so far. So that live, lovely to see you here, Ben. That's much cheaper than the States.
That will be really advantageous then.
Yeah, I pay $135 a month for gas from EDF. Or is that? Oh, EDF, right? I prefer the Portuguese vibe. Well, we're doing pretty well. Hola, comperas from Rafael.
Hey.
Hello, mate. Is he Iberian? I wonder.
Yeah,
I haven't
I'm
asked him
guessing
yet.
it does.
Hello, I pay $185. Colleen,
Oh my
hello,
God.
Colleen.
Hi, Colleen.
$185 for TV and internet.
Yikes.
Ben,
We are so in the right company.
we moan
in
about
the
it, but look
country.
at this internet cable, $180. What?
You guys in the States must be absolutely wetting yourselves
Yeah,
hearing how
it's
little we're
pathetic,
paying.
these pathetic
Especially when we're
Brits.
saying, oh my goodness, we think that's expensive.
Yes. Oh my goodness. If you frequently forget to pay those bills in time, you can choose to. I know. I resent direct debit. I really do. Giving access to corporations access. But then again, I'd end up paying anyway. You're right, Antonio. In California, I pay $112 a month, unlimited data. Good heavens, is all I can say. Hola, Rafael, not your average globetrotter from Antonio. And we pay 69. Global Nobles are here. Hola, good night. €69 a month for 2 mobile phones and home internet in Lisbon with Mayo. We paid over $200 back in California.
So that's a little bit more like our deal, isn't it? That the global.
It is, absolutely.
Global Nobles
Cell
have got.
phones, 3 of internet. Hulu TV is about 400. What? Ouch!
That's over half of our rent.
Cell phones alone.
Oh my goodness.
I pay
Oh,
$40.
Gosh.
Sorry, €40 for 3 cell phones. That's Antonio. Thank you, mate, for your
I mean,
help
I
tonight.
guess, the big difference is in the States, you get paid so much more than we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? But still, if you stop getting paid,
Yeah.
that's going to hurt, isn't it?
Yeah.
For any moment,
Gosh.
any length of time. I pay
Wow.
about $200 for water, sewer, and trash quarterly every 3 months. Gas is variable from 40 to 200, depending if I need heat. Electricity is 50 to 100 if I need AC. Wow, Tom. We've got 4 lines of Vodafone. 2 of them are unlimited internet. Pay about €90 per month. Who knew people would enjoy so much talking about their bills
Yeah,
tonight?
I know. It's really quite fun.
Me and my wife are still on Galaxy S9s, which are ancient according to our sons. You should look at this. I've got the black lightning on my phone. It's been on the floor so many times. Thank you, says Suze. Do you know the KW connection you have? It's well rated. It only blows if. What's our capacity? Not in kilowatts, but in appliances, Mrs. M.
We're at one of the highest settings. You might want to. Let's explain that now quickly. There are. Is it 3 settings?
I believe
think
so. Yeah.
So
one enough for lights.
Yeah. If you go and stay in Airbnbs in Portugal, most of them are on the lightest setting. So it's fine in the summer when you put a light on and you might use a hairdryer and you might use a kettle, but you can't do all of them at the same time.
And then hoover up.
Yeah. And in the winter, if you're staying in an Airbnb, you may well find its lights out all of a sudden. Like you've got the oven on, you're cooking something, you've got a heater on, you put the kettle on, and all of a sudden it's lights out. It's like, what?
I tell you what, though.
So when you move into a house, you want to make sure you're on the right level of electricity for you. And so we're on, I think, the higher one.
Well, let me just go to my app, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked, Facebook user. Look at this. This is our consumption. Average consumption of 221, nearly 222 kilowatt hours. And our contracted power, to answer your question, is 6.9 kVAs, which I believe probably is, if not the highest, then certainly the medium.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely the medium. I think it's the highest. Our electricity went once this winter because we were using too much, and that was when we had
washing machine.
We had the washing
kettle,
machine on. We had the oven
heater.
on. We had, I think, 3 heaters. We had the studio here on. And I think one of us had just put the kettle on, and that was it.
And then one of the kids plugged a mobile phone in and tripped the whole lot. Probably.
It's worth having a torch or a couple of torches in different locations.
Whoever you are, Facebook user 6.9 then is the answer to your question. I feel I'm all over it tonight. Remember, the cheaper contracts have a 2-year duration. If you give up before, you'll have to pay them an indemnity.
Yes,
and that
advice.
will not be cheap.
No.
That's really...
Is that what happened to us?
Yeah, really good to mention that, Antonio. If you move, however, I believe that is one of the few reasons you can give for getting out of a contract. If they can't supply you the same service in your new home, then they've got to give way to someone else who can, I believe. Way cheaper than the $179 we average here in South Florida, Magpie style. Sherry Love, good evening to you. Internet, TV cable, and phone, $280 a month, Arizona, USA. I couldn't find where to join the Portugal Club. On our homepage, Sue's on our homepage. There are 2 levels. There's the GMP VIP, currently €9 a month, and then the Portugal Club is our weekly meetup. That's the full bells and whistles service.
If you're interested, we can send you a link.
Yeah, retain the choice to buy food first if it comes to that. I agree about direct debit. Yeah, you resent that. Me too. Yeah, corporations. I'm not giving you access to my wallet. Take out. I mean, that's what you're signing up for, isn't it? With direct debit, take what you want when you want. We pay $160 a month, 2 cell phones, unlimited calls and data. And 190, says Yolanda, 2 lines for cell service. I pay $300 unlimited for 5 cell phones. Ben's got the 3 kids on there. Electricity and gasoline are way more expensive in Europe. So there you go. There's a balance there. Yeah, you've got your...
And if you're buying a car over here, it's one of the more expensive countries to buy a car, isn't it, in Europe? Yeah.
Lecky, which does sound like a very fancy haute cuisine item, is actually electricity for the Brits. 135 a month in London. Well, I thought it was 135 a day now in the UK, Tom. And more than in the US here. I don't know what that's referring to. However, it is much more expensive for gasoline and diesel than it is in the United States. I mean, you're a gas guzzling country, and those prices, although higher than they used to be, are still, I think, much lower than Europe. Sometimes when I finish my data, no cell phone, and I'm around doing video calls, I used to buy an internet card by Vodafone until 31st of March for 15 days. I used to pay €15. Now 15 days for €20.
Thank you, Laura.
That's worth mentioning, because if you do if you go over your contract, it becomes very expensive, as we found when we've been on tour.
We used to have little dongles, didn't we? And boy, did they get expensive, because we were living in a part of Portugal that just didn't have fiber at the time. And I wonder if they've got it now. I mean, 5 years on, but all we could do was use a dongle, and we were trying to do live broadcasts, and boy, was it expensive.
Just the 2 of us, Global Nobles, 2-bed apartment. We pay on average €45 a month for electricity, gas, and €30 a month for water.
That's great.
Thank you, everybody, for coughing up your personal info tonight. I guess we led the way there, didn't we? But I think this information should be in the public domain. It's funny, isn't it? People can be very secretive about this sort of thing. I think the more people know about it, the better, really. Oops, not now. We'll watch show now, as I missed most of it. I love and appreciate this. We love and appreciate you, Colleen.
Yeah, thank you,
and Suze. Yeah, let's talk about getting you on the GMP VIP service, Suze. And thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Sorry we took you 7 minutes past, but I thought it was worth it tonight. Bonite from Ohio, says Tom Smith. Tom, thank you. Thank you, everybody who's been here this evening. Have you got a final word for everybody, Mrs. M?
No, just... I have no idea. I was just thinking about contacting...
Pete's in.
Oh, hello, Pete.
Of course. Why is he paying anything, though? I pay €19 a month for water. And okay. So he's got to pay for his water. But he's got a solar array there, which means he's saving
Pete,
on that.
For having that.
Yeah, very good. Okay. I think
I just wanted to... I'm not at my...
at your...
I don't have my email in front of me, and one of our sons has got my phone.
Okay.
And I wanted to message somebody that's watching tonight that might want to talk to me.
Okay. We'll be in touch with you immediately.
Yeah,
afterwards.
we will. I will drop you an email straight away.
Great. Okay. Well,
you'll know who I'm talking to.
She's gonna run and do that now. In anticipation of.
Can you send me the link?
See, 25 de Abril. I'll do that in just a moment, Mrs. M. We've got the 49th anniversary of the Carnation Revolution coming up, and we recorded something that was our intro for our Feel Good Portugal shows, and it just feels like a really nice way to, with what's going on in the world at the moment, to remember this beautiful prose that was put together, and we put it over some music. It's not the 50th anniversary yet. That'll be next year, and what an interesting reflection point that will be for Portugal's 50th anniversary of the Carnation Revolution. 49th this year, 25th of April. It's a special date, and this will get you in the mood for that. And I'll put the remaining comments up over this. And thank you for your kind attention and contributions this evening. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much.
I've really enjoyed hanging out with you all.
Yeah, it's been lovely. It's date night for me and Mrs. M, of course. So lovely to hang out with you as well, Mrs. M. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.
On the 25th of April, the MFA announced that the people should remain at home because they feared armed confrontations on the street. But the Portuguese population clearly disobeyed the military orders to stay at home because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears. And so people took the streets to the thousands and supported the military coup to force the resignation of the leader of the regime. The people brought red carnations and distributed them to the soldiers, who stuck them in their rifle barrels, making the flower the symbol of the revolution. The revolutionary process of 74 and 75 was one of the liveliest experiences in Portuguese history. In 19 months, there were 2 failed coups, 6 provisional governments, the process of independence of the colony, several mass strike waves, demonstrations, occupations of thousands of houses, a profound agricultural reform, occupations of land, the creation of workers' cooperatives, workers' councils, trade unions, neighborhood commissions, self-managed factories, businesses, offices, newspapers, and radios. Because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears.